I want to give you guys the secret to social media growth. This is 100% proven to work. If you implement these things, you can go from a 0 to 100,000 in 3 months. So I asked this guy, what's your song about? And he's like, it's about Raris and it's about the rich life. It's about I'm like, okay, how many people in Bangladesh has a Rari and is Bangladeshe manush bhalo jinish shune na? Dude, you don't get it. The stuff you're making doesn't have a big enough audience for people to care about.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Sunset Podcast for Season 2. I'm Irfan.
I'm Rakeen.
Tanvir.
Yeah, today we have a wonderful guest and we have a lot to talk about. So, Tanvir, thank you so much for coming. And, we were very excited. I first of all want to say, when they told me like, we're going to have Tanvir Teyder come in, যখন আমাকে বলছিল যে, Tanvir Teyder আসবে, I first didn't recognize. I was like, I know you, but like I didn't know the name.
Yeah.
তো আমি জানতাম না। তো আমি তখন রাকিন আমাকে কয়েকটা জিনিস পাঠালো when we were preparing এপিসোডের জন্য। তখন I saw your Facebook page. আর প্রথম I saw the Kamla Bangladeshi song, the thing. আর পর I'm like, no way. There's no way this is the person who's coming in. Because আমার মনে আছে I was in middle school. আর তখন আমার বন্ধুরা I grew up in a school যেখানে অনেক সাদা kids, a bunch of white kids, international kids. So then they come up to me and they were like, have you heard this song? And then I'm like, why do you know this song? It's a Bangla song. They were like, oh no, we like translated it and then we love this song. It's our favorite song now. Our pura school হাঁটাটি করে খালি ছাড়তো and they were like, Ami Kamla Bangladesh.
A bunch of white kids.
Yeah, just a bunch of white kids.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So I think you started off with something that is very important. So most people don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And because of that, throughout this podcast, what I will try to focus on is to give value to the audience so that is why they should care. Yeah. So if you had, let's suppose, Shakib Al Hassan on your podcast, you would get views just from the name.
That's true.
But for this podcast to work, I have to give as much value as I possibly can to win over people who are a bunch of strangers watching this. And the way I see it is we owe you guys for watching this podcast and for your time. So what I want to focus on this podcast is how anyone can grow on social media.
Yeah.
And I think that's something a lot of people care about. And the reason why I want to talk about that and the reason why I'm qualified to talk about that is because, there was Teyder. So I grew that to 180K, but not really.
I saw like 220 or something yesterday.
Really? No, it's like 180K.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then I had CMB Batash and then that grew as well. And then I worked for this delivery company, Delivery Hub, and I grew their social media from 5 or 6,000 when I joined, and then over the next 10 months I grew it to over 100,000. And then EnglishBoli, we get like over 1.5 million, 2 million reach per month organically, which is what I do right now. So I think that's really what I'm most qualified to talk about, and that's how I'm going to give the most value to your audience.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to grow on social media, the first thing you want to do is know who your audience is, and most people don't know that.
Yeah.
For example, if I asked you guys who would watch your Sunset Studios podcast, who is it for? And you have to specifically tell me.
Yeah. So from what I know, I live in London now, so I come back only for this and work. So every time I see our audience is very much people in the creative space. Especially when I say creative space, it's a person who has a camera that they want to fidget around with. A person who's trying to get into music, who's learning how to make beats on GarageBand or anything, or a person who's just writes for fun, reads books. Someone that wants to have a conversation that's not always just serious. And that's what we see a struggle happening in Bangladesh, where you get people in these spaces, right? You have these interviews, these shows, and all they want to focus about is how did you get there? How important is it? Rather than helping others grow it or helping others see a different subject. Yeah. So amra jodi dekhi our first season we had people in the music industry, we had people in the cinema industry, we had people doing art, and we had people even in business and everything to just talk about all these different spaces, and that gives our audience a choice. They get to see all these different sides and all these different perspectives, and that's what we just want to do. We want to show that even in Dhaka, a place like this, you have all these different creative minds.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that was a very
Not a specific answer.
Not a very specific answer
That's
at all.
really the problem, because
Yeah.
if you want close to 1 million or over 1 million views or 100,000 views, each podcast has to specifically target a certain niche, and whoever you bring in has to give value to that specific niche, or has to be famous enough till where people watch your podcast just for that guy.
Yeah.
So again, like the Shakib Al Hassan example, if
Yeah,
he
yeah,
was
yeah.
here, I would watch it because I love the guy.
Yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
people who just love the guy would watch it.
Would watch it, yes.
But when you have people who are not Shakib Al Hassan famous, which is very, very famous.
Yeah.
So then it's more about, hey, this is what I know and this is what I can teach you. And if you know this, then it's going to help you. So if you look at Joe Rogan's podcast and why it does so well, so he's going to bring on Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
And for that podcast, he'll talk about things that people who would follow Jordan Peterson, so guys from the age of maybe 18 to
Yeah.
like 40,
Yeah.
those are the guys who would watch that particular podcast and they would get a lot of value out of it.
Yeah.
But then if he's interviewing, let's suppose, Elon Musk, people would watch that to know what's new in the tech space.
Yeah.
But maybe someone who watched Jordan Peterson might not watch the Elon Musk one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So specifically targeting an audience that's big enough to get you 100,000 views is like the most important thing.
Yeah.
So I have this friend and he wants to make rap music. So I asked this guy, so what's the music about? What's your song about? And he's like, it's about Raris. It's about Raris and it's about being a
Raris.
gangster and it's about the rich life. It's about I don't know if I'm allowed to
Yeah,
say
you
that,
can,
but-
you can.
Yeah, it's
That's
about all of that.
whatever you want.
And I'm like, okay, how many people in Bangladesh has a Rari and has money and burns money and doesn't give a shit, or like the lifestyle you're trying to portray in your song? How many people in Bangladesh has that?
Has that.
And he's like, I'm like, you don't even have that, right? And then, and then before I said that, he's like, this song's gonna blow up. But who's it gonna blow up to?
Yeah,
there
who's
are
gonna
not even
listen to
4
that?
or 5 people in Bangladesh who would listen to it. It's like, no, people in America, they're gonna listen to it. They're not going to listen to your song. They're not going to listen to it because they have American artists that they would rather listen to than some
exactly,
kid
yeah.
in Bangladesh. So
That's
whatever
correct.
you're making, it's no matter how much effort you put into it, it will never blow up because logically it cannot blow up.
It can't, yeah.
There's not enough people.
There isn't an audience that will watch it.
Yeah, so I know musicians who make music very similar to Arctic Monkeys, right? Which is great,
Yeah.
but it's in English and
Yeah.
it sounds exactly like Arctic Monkeys. So as a Bengali, why would I listen
To that and not
and
Arctic,
not Arctic
Monkeys.
Monkeys?
Yeah.
And to an American kid, why would they listen to some Bangladeshi band
Yeah.
that none of their friends listen to when they can listen to Arctic Monkeys?
Exactly. Yeah.
So and these are the same people, I'll see them complaining like, my shit never blows up. Bangladeshe manush bhalo jinish shune na.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't get it. Okay? And then because the stuff you're making doesn't have a big enough audience for people to care about.
Yeah.
And then another thing, and if you do this, hopefully we'll get a lot of views on this podcast because I'm giving you guys massive value. I will make sure that the stuff that I tell you guys, if you want to grow on social media, if you implement these things, you can go from a 0 to 100,000 in 3 months. All right. So that's what we're going to do.
That's
in
what
the
we're gonna aim
podcast.
for. Yes.
Right. So I know a lot of people who have this mentality. This is who I am, and I am a really cool kid because my mama told me so. My best friend said that I'm really cool, and I think I'm really cool. And so I'm going to make this thing, and you're going to like it because I'm cool and I made it.
Yes.
And that's the way most people who will never blow up or never do anything, never do anything, never get enough views on social media think. They're like, I made this cool song and I think it's great. Why? Because I made it.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me.
Me.
And that's why you should care.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, the people you want to listen to your stuff are complete random strangers who don't know you. So if you ask something from a random stranger, what do? You give them something first. Now, and this is the secret to social media and pretty much all negotiations, which is give some more, and then receive, give, receive, and then you just keep receiving.
Yeah.
So I'll give you guys an example. So Lionel Messi, right? Pretty big example, but it's pretty much the same thing everywhere. So when Lionel Messi started his career, started playing for Barcelona. So when he started, if Lionel Messi posted a photo of just his face, no one would care about that photo.
They wouldn't, yeah.
Right? Because it's just a picture of someone's face. If I post a photo of just my face right now, with what my personal brand is right now, not a lot of people will give a
Yeah.
And people need to be honest about that.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
They need to not be delusional. Just because you think you're the doesn't mean you're the right? Maybe you are to yourself, but not for the millions of others, strangers that you want to care about you. So if I post a photo, right, no one's gonna care. And if Lionel Messi, before he was famous, posted a photo, not a lot of people would care compared to the amount of people who will care now. But then what happens? He comes in, he plays amazing football. He gives people who love football, so that's the niche.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big niche. Millions of people who are fans of great football, and he starts playing good football for Barcelona, and he keeps winning, and he keeps winning, and he keeps winning, gets them trophies. So people who are fans of Barcelona before Messi, now they like him.
Now they like him.
Now they're like, okay, so you've given me something. You have given me wins for my favorite team, and that makes me care about you.
Yeah.
Right? So then, if Messi posts a photo of his face, it's like, I know this guy, and I like him, and I like your face, and I'll like your photo.
Exactly, yeah.
But most people, before you've earned the right from random strangers to give a shit about you, you're like, no one cares about artists. It's like, no, you don't get it. So most people are like, I made this, and you should care, but the way you should look at it is, hey, how can I serve you and give you what you want in my own original way?
Yeah.
And once you start doing that, you will grow, because it's not about you anymore. It's about, hey, I am this cool ass dude, if you think such of yourself, and I know this is what you want, and this is what I'll give you.
Yeah.
Right? So like the thing with EnglishBoli, for those of you who don't know, I have a company called EnglishBoli, and what we do is we provide English education to people throughout Bangladesh. Why? Because if you don't know English, then you can't access information. And since we have the internet now, if you can access information, you can make money. You can change your life, right? For example, you guys have this entire podcast set up. How did you learn how to do this? From YouTube. Like that's pretty much how everybody learns. Yeah. But if the video's in English, but you don't speak English, you're never going to start a podcast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's one of the biggest problems in Bangladesh, where people don't have access to education. So the entire thing with EnglishBoli is, okay, you need to learn English. Why? If you learn English, you can do a freelancing course and start making money, which is going to pay you way more than a job. And you can do it from your house. You don't want to do freelancing? Doesn't matter. You can learn business. All the greatest business books are in English. So whatever you want to do, like that's pretty much why I'm doing EnglishBoli. But anyway, coming to the point. So from January, we had 20,000 followers in January in EnglishBoli. And then in February, 2 months later, we have 93,000 followers, right? And we do like 2 million, 3 million, 1.5 million organically like reach. So the way that we do that is, first, it's like, who is the content for, right? The content is for people who want to learn English, who understand that because I don't speak English in a world where there's the internet, I am falling behind from people who know English, and they're learning skills and they're making money and getting ahead, and I'm not being able to do that. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I know that it's a lot of people. So if I make content for them, I know there's a possibility it will get 1 million views. Because according to Facebook, there's like 43 million people in my niche. So realistically, that's monetizable. And it's a large enough group of people where you can get famous in. Yeah. If it's 100 people, it's 100 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I understand who my audience is. I understand how big they are. And now I have to understand what they care about. And what they care about is they want to learn English. They don't give a shit about me. So I can't go there and be like, hey, I'm Tanvir and I can speak English.
Yeah,
and exactly. I am very cool. And my friends, I speak in English with them. They're like, okay, f you.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't give a shit about you, dude. But if I'm like, hey man, I learned English, and when I was 20, I started doing freelancing, and I made a lot of money, and in this video, I'll teach you English so you can do the same
thing. Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, now I'm listening, right? And then there's a lot more to social media. I'll give you guys a secret formula for getting viral hits, too, in this podcast. But this is the base that most people don't get.
Yeah.
Right? And then they act like pathetic, you know, people, they act extremely pathetic online where they're like, Manush bhalo jinish ki bujhe na. Amar gaan eto bhalo. Amar art eto bhalo. Amar eta eto bhalo. Kintu manush bujhe na. Dude, like, you're the problem.
That's what I agree with, Jay. Onek manusha, ora chinta kore, like, I have a cool idea, I have a great idea.
Who is it for?
Yeah, and the why.
Yeah.
Ora keno korteche. And like you said, the audience want to know.
Yeah.
What am I getting out of this?
What am I getting out of it?
Because
you're a random stranger, and the only reason that I care about you is if there's something in it for me.
Yeah.
It's very simple. And then suppose, like, with EnglishBoli, now I get like a lot of really endearing messages. Like, Bhaiya, apnar English video dekhe hame English shikhte perechi.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So now they care about me to a certain degree, like still not yet because we're working on our back end systems. So we're not really pushing. From next month, we'll have our systems ready and then we'll push. But now they're like kind of caring, like this guy teaches me English for free, taught me things that really did help me. And now I care about him because like he didn't have to do this, but he helped me out.
Yeah.
And that's how you form a community around you, right?
It's about the giving.
It's about the giving, not the, hey, look at how cool I am and receiving from the get-go.
Yeah.
Suppose and there's this book, Influence, by Robert Cialdini. I hope I'm not butchering that name, but it's a psychology book. And like one of the things that they talk about in that book is that there's like this religious group in India who are in the USA. And what they do, what they used to do is they want to raise money from people. So they'd go up to people and they'd scream and they'd like, give me money. And people didn't do that. Then what they started doing is they started going up to people and they started giving them flowers. And they started giving them a little badge. And they would do that. And then they would be like, hey, I'm from this religious organization. Flower means a lot to us. And like, would you like to contribute to our cause? So these people have already given them something, and then they exponentially grew the amount of money that they're getting back. So first thing, always give people more than they expect. Wow people with how much you're giving them. It's like, dude, other people, like with EnglishBoli, my entire thing is I'm going to give so much value in free videos that other people are selling the same information in a course. And then they're like, okay, you know, this dude knows what he's doing.
Like it's a better deal.
It's a better deal. And they care about you if you keep on giving. And then if they're like, okay, this guy has a course too, and then guess what? They're going to get the course. You've already proven your competency.
I don't think we in I don't think we understand the majority people of Bangladesh. They don't know how to speak. I'm not saying they don't know how to speak English, but a lot of them aren't fluent in English.
This is definitely a niche podcast that you have. And the reason why I am speaking in English, because there's still, I think, a big enough subset in Bangladesh who do speak English. But hopefully this podcast gets views because, you know, there's a lot of people who want to grow online.
No, you put it in a perspective that, like, how could we, viewing your channel, how could it benefit us? But if you think about your opportunity with EnglishBoli was endless because so many, like millions of people in Bangladesh want to know how to learn English. Just knowing how to learn English would give them so much more opportunities. They were probably unemployed, but I think you get a lot of texts like, oh, because of you, I got a job.
I have students who like couldn't go abroad, and then we taught them English, and then now they're like, finally, I gave my IELTS. I am in this country now, and I have friends that I can speak in English with, you know. So yeah, we have that.
And that's amazing. And like, I think the main take from what you said is like, if you're making content out there, you have to give a lot to receive something back.
And you can't be talking about yourself from the get-go. Right? It's like, okay, so and before I started EnglishBoli, like I already knew marketing pretty well. All I do is like study books on marketing and psychology, right? So you'll see something grow exponentially and people will say it's luck, but there's a lot of work that they're putting behind it. So I knew if I start EnglishBoli, I knew who the audience is, and most people, they don't know, right? They'll start something and they don't know who their audience is. And from doing that, they're like, why am I not seeing results? I'm working just as much as the other guy. It's like, dude, the stuff you're making, there's not a big enough sector of people who would listen to it. So the possibility of you blowing up, it's never going to happen.
This is why I've seen like a lot of people complain like, oh, I'm giving more effort than that guy
Than
and
that
what he's
guy.
doing. But you have to understand, like you said, the point. Someone needs to watch your stuff, and someone needs to relate to you, or someone needs to learn something from you. And if they're not getting either of those things, they're not going to watch you.
Here's
even
what-
if you give as much
Even if
effort.
you have amazing production quality,
Yeah.
right? So production quality and none of that matters when you compare it to value.
Yeah.
And there are compliments to it, but they're not something that
Like that's
would
something
ever
I
be
see like
assessed
in
to.
this country. A lot of places. I'm not gonna name who. There's one person specifically, but they have great production quality and they have content that they're making, consistent content, and they're getting the views and they're getting viral and everything. But I don't see how people are relating to it. You know?
Yeah.
Like they caught the market. They know people will watch it for sure. But I'm watching it and I'm thinking like, what am I getting from watching this? Laughter, happiness? Am I just like thinking, oh, it's a good video? But I'm not even feeling that. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
But then I read the comments and then everyone has the same value. They all think the video was whack or the video was shit.
But that's because how they marketed to you that you ended up watching it, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
like-
they put something interesting in there that made you
Controversy.
that made you want to click the
Controversy.
video and be like, oh, I'm gonna watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a TV here. I know the audience can't
Yeah,
see
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But one of the videos, 38 minutes ago, has 94K views. It says "Poyonkor bagher shate vlog korlam," and to a lot of people, so I'm guessing whoever this YouTuber is, he already has his audience.
Yeah.
So that audience is big enough, and that's a very catchy thumbnail. And
Yeah.
so once you have your audience, then all you do is you just get them with the interesting thumbnails and an interesting video. But you have to
Currently,
get
like
the audience first.
in all honesty, right? Amader prothom season ta. It was we or me specifically. I had no clue who the audience was for us.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know.
Let's just do it.
Yeah,
right?
I want to do
Shuru
it.
korle hoye jabe.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the worst advice.
Yeah, and my thing was that the way we're gonna target these audiences is we're gonna target our guests' audiences. We're not gonna have our own audiences just yet. So if on the TV you also see one of our episodes. It's Anila Iqbal's Secret Stalker Exposed. That's what we had, and that's our most popular one. Has 8.5K views,
Which isn't a lot.
Which isn't a lot, but for us at starting, we thought it was decent.
Yeah,
And-
but you could have
yeah,
turned that into like maybe not her name,
Yeah.
but then
She's a model.
Yeah.
So model Instagram model.
Yeah.
Instagram model. Bangladeshi Instagram models secret stalker story.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it,
yeah.
then it's not her name. It's like okay, I'm
It's a-
Bangladeshi,
it's a-
and
yeah.
then I know what Instagram models are, and I know what a stalker is.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and
that
then-
way it's not specifically her.
So
Like,
then you
it's
expand to people who are not only in her audience, but
Yeah.
then also just general people who would
the
want to watch them.
Bangladesh, the Instagram, the model,
so
and all of that. Yeah.
Then you talk about like Instagram modeling. There are tons of girls in Bangladesh who'd want to know how this works, and then how do I start? How much money do you make from it? Is it something anyone could do? How do I convince my parents to
Mm-hmm.
let me do this? And then if you had those in that video specifically, so that's giving value to a certain subset of the market, right?
Yeah.
And then you'd know.
Yeah. So we also do a similar thing in with a thumbnail type thing, but as like shorts, like Instagram, TikTok shorts, and our TikTok is currently our biggest platform where we have our most followers and views. So for this one, a short from this has 150,000 views, and it's
Yeah.
just one clip.
And what's
But that
it
was
about?
because it's her talking about an experience she had relating to like how people think she's old for her age.
Yeah.
And they think she's older. But the video we specifically edited in a way where it's fast
Yeah.
and the facts are just right in your face right away from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that way, like you said, like you need something where people can just
It's
look at it and then
generalized,
it's just
they know
general
what it
and they
is,
know it.
And they don't need to know the name. They just
Yeah.
need to know what it is. They need to identify, okay, I know what that is. I know what that is. Okay, care.
Yeah.
You know? Before things get stale or
Yeah, yeah.
slow, I want to give you guys the secret to social media growth.
We need
Who's
this.
ready?
We need this
We
too.
need-
Okay,
yeah, we got
who is
it.
ready. So if
Yeah.
you guys follow this, there will never be a day where it fails you. Okay, this is 100% proven to work. So it's relatability plus value equal to shares. Relatability plus value equal to shares. And for your whatever you're doing for it to grow on social media, it needs shares. So I'll give you guys a really good example. So when I used to be in Delivery Hub, I was their creative director. I used to do their marketing. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get you guys views. How do I do it? So I made this animated video where there's a guy on his rooftop smoking a cigarette, and the background music is that song, right? And then in the background, in the sky's animated and it's raining, right? So it's a guy during a storm with like the noises that you get during a storm with that song, and he's smoking a cigarette peacefully.
Yeah.
So I know that Delivery Hobby was a delivery agency for people who are from like 18 to 25 to 30. So these are young people who hang out with their friends, who smoke cigarettes, and you can, cut that out.
Yeah.
বিড়ি খায়।
বিড়ি খায়।
I think বিড়ি algorithm ধরবে না, but বিড়ি খায় বন্ধুদের সাথে ছাদে যায় আর হচ্ছে এরকম feels নেয়। I know what that is, right?
Feels
And that's a very
vibe করে
feels নেয়, বিড়ি খায়, একটা মেয়ে যে ছেকা দিছিল ওকে ওরে নিয়ে চিন্তা করে, right? So I know that about that particular demographic. So when I'm going to make a content, I know who the specific guy is who's going to watch it. I know there are millions like him. And then I have to cater to him, right? So relatability is it's a picture, it's this animation of this guy on the rooftop, and then he's smoking a bidi, and anyone sees that, he's like, I've been that guy. Like, I do that, that's me, right?
Yeah.
So that's relatable. And then I put the song and the animation, and it's therapeutic, and that's the value, right?
Yeah.
So if it was badly produced, he wouldn't share it. But because it was a nice animation, it was the song, everything it connected, nicely animated and all of that, that's the value. The relatability is who is it for, why would they care, and then they're going to share it. And that video had like 5,000 shares.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
Yeah, and I knew it was going to be a hit. So I'll talk about Kamla Bangladeshi too. I've been using it ever since. I don't know if you guys listen to Amiki Kolagach. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I'm not going to assume that anybody knows. It had like 2-3 million views overall across all social media platforms. So the way that I knew it was going to be a hit before we put it out is from the lyrics. So what Amiki Kola Gach is Amiki Kola Gach je tumi amar kola khabe, Amiki Kola Gach amake kete felle arekta kola gach hobe, right? So if you listen to any big hit song, even from The Weeknd or Joji or like any hit song, it's about a guy. And he's a guy, so he can't express his feelings. And it has to be like a little sad, bittersweet, right? Always. I'll get into this. I'll get into this for everyone who is interested. So, Amiki Kolagach was about, am I a banana tree that if you cut me down, you can easily replace me? So who is it actually for? It's guys who've been replaced by a girl. And that is a load of guys.
Yeah, that's a lot of guys.
That's literally everyone. That's literally the people Weeknd and Joji make music
Exactly. And I'll get into that, right? So I know who it's for. I know specifically when I'm writing the song, I know exactly who this is for, right? So it's for a guy, je chaka khaise, ekhon hocche, he stimulates his own feelings and emotions through listening to music that kind of caress his defeated self in a way, right? So then I'll intentionally put in lines that, and then the entire goal was it has to be funny, but then underneath that, it's about being replacement. And that's the value. So it's comedy plus tragedy. And then the relatability is, okay, this is for people who are guys who got replaced by a girl. So then you put it out, it's a hit, right? Then, for example, Kamla Bangladeshi. We all know someone who is exactly like that. Video, right? You know exactly someone like that. I put out another song, Bhat, on a page that had 0 likes. And it had like 200,000 views or 300, like just that's the first post.
So that's one of my questions, right? Like you say, like about that virality of how you say like you need to be relatable, has value, and then the shares, right? So when you have a page that has 0, it's just started, nothing, and you just post that, the video is relatable, the video has value, and it has shareability.
That's the main fact.
Where's that first step? How do you get that first hook?
So I'll get into all of it. So I think I'll start with Bhat because that's the best way to explain this. So Bhat is basically a song about how Bengalis love Bhat. That's it.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
সাদা ভাত পাশে ডাল বলো না ভাত
Yeah.
ছাড়া আমি কে জানি না ভাত
Yeah.
ডাল ঝোল মাছ মুরগি আলু লেবু বেগুন
Yeah,
ভাজি,
yeah,
শুটকি ভাত খেলে 4 বেলা পেলে মুরগি গরু ভর্তা দিয়ে যদি দিতে মেখে something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Right. So these are things all Bengali has done. Everyone loves bhat. If you don't like bhat, fuck you. Right?
You're not a Bengali at that
You're not a
point.
Bengali if you don't like
I
bhat.
used to say that, and then I went to London. I was like, I miss pot
Yeah,
so
dude,
much,
like,
man.
You can hate bhat for a little bit, but it's like, your soulmate.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
have a fight, but you're gonna get back.
Like I
together.
used to literally say, like, it's unhealthy. Don't eat it. It's not good for you. Like, you'll get bloated. You'll have that hard stomach.
Yeah, like sure you can die from it, but what
Yeah.
sort of life would you have if you never
If you
ate
never
pot?
have it, yeah,
Never ate pot.
exactly.
Yeah, but anyway, coming to the point, coming to what we were talking about. So I know Bengalis eat bhat. I know Bengalis love bhat. So who am I targeting? Bengalis, right? That's a large section of people. That's like at the end, the whole of South Asia, right? Who like bhat. So I know that, and then I'll be like, okay, so I'll make a song, and it's going to be complete obsession over pot. So that is where the comedy comes in, and that's value, right? Like, sure, people like pot, but in the video you'll see people doing like snorting pot through their nose and
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
going overboard with like,
Yeah.
obsessed with pot.
Exaggerating it. Yeah.
Exaggerating. So comedy is exaggeration of normal human situations.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a section of comedy. But anyway, so I'll do that. I'll make the video. I know what I have will catch on. I'll post it on the page, and then I'll just share it from my profile. But I will never say, guys, watch it and share it. People don't like to be told what to do.
Yeah.
Never do that. If someone shares your stuff, I'll get into why people share. I'll get into the psychology of why people share your stuff. But all I did is I took pot and like I made a new song. And then that's it. And the thumbnail was like some guy passed out from like eating pot, right? And then people started watching it, people shared it, and then someone else, even if a guy has 60 friends on his friend list, if 30 people watch it, 5 people would share it, or 2 people would share it. But if you have that for everyone, then it exponentially goes everywhere. Right. So, yeah, what was I saying?
Pot.
Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of how it gets shared.
Yeah.
And then it blows up. And now I want to talk about the psychology of share. When does someone share? Okay. Do you ever share cringy, unironic, love TikTok videos about love? যে তুমি বুঝতে পারলা না যে আমি কত ভালো কিন্তু আরেকজন বুঝবে, something like that.
Yeah, no,
You don't.
You don't.
I hope you have
probably-
never been to that point of your life.
No. But my point is, you don't, right?
Yeah, you don't.
Yeah.
You don't.
And if you do, it's ironic.
yeah.
Yeah.
But if you
It's like,
seriously
look at this shit. Look at what I
this
just
shit.
found.
Look at
Yeah.
this, right? But if you share it unironically, like you seriously, found that valuable or related to it, your friends will think you're cat,
Yeah.
right?
That's
Do
true.
you get it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like,
a share.
I can relate to this so hard.
So hard, like, এবারে কি বলে?
Yeah, what are you
How am I
saying?
friends with this guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So people share things, and through that, psychologically, they want to tell everyone in their friend list, which consists of a lot of strangers they don't really know that well, but people share things to show other people something that resembles their personality. Okay?
Yeah.
So if I share something, if I share a dank meme, right, and it's some edgy, obscure humor, when I share that, what I'm subconsciously saying to people is this is the type of stuff I find funny.
Funny, yeah.
And I think this is the type of people who's cool. And if you're like that, then you're in my tribe.
Yeah. That's very true.
So that's the psychology of share. And I know that. And when you know that, you're like, okay, so I'll make something that the people that I'm making it for will share it with other people like Bhat. So the people who shared Bhat is like, yeah, আমিও ভাত ছাড়া চলতে পারি না, right? Because they knew their friends would find it funny, and their friends would be like, দোস্ত তুই যে ভিডিওটা শেয়ার দিছিস না এত জোস ছিল, right? And then they get that little boost in their ego. So that's how shares work.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys got a lot of value. Number one, always keep giving.
Giving.
No, sorry, that's not number one. Number one is know who your audience is. Make sure it's a big enough subset that has a few million people in it. So it's realistically and logically possible for you to get millions of views.
Yeah.
If it's not, then you will never get it.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm like, let me think about something really obscure.
So I had a question.
Yeah.
So we're talking about how to get there, you know, like how do you get that virality, how do you become successful, and how do you monetize your work. But let's say a person is now listening to it and they're in that place where they're like, I put in so much effort, I have so much good stuff that I personally like and I know people would like, but they're stuck. They put stuff out there, they're not getting their market, they're not reaching.
I have something to say about this
happen.
actually.
Huh?
Like this comes back to that relatability, right? Because you like say I'm an artist and I put a, like you were saying, your friend who made a song about Raris and like he thinks it will blow up, right?
Yeah.
I think if he puts that out in Bangladesh, people can relate to that. So making content, I believe it's kind of like
great. It's not great. It's not
I believe it's kind of like a business, right?
Yeah.
You gotta cater for the audience first. You might think you're very creative, but yes, like
if it's not for anyone, then it's not for anyone.
I'm pretty sure even like Weeknd or Drake, they had to sacrifice their creativity to put out some songs that
no, but they know this.
cater to the people.
So I'll talk about like the American music industry. So what happens in the American music industry, which people here don't know, so they're delusional about it. So talent hunters or actual marketers, they'll look out for underground talent, right? They'll go to someone like The Weeknd. And then they'll know this guy has something that I can market. They'll take him in and they'll teach them the same things, right? So I'll get, for example, the whole shtick with The Weeknd is I really love this girl, but I have the devil in me, so I keep f***ing up. And because of that, I just can't keep a girl.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of dudes. That's a lot of dudes.
That's a lot of dudes.
Like, oh, I made this mistake and that's why she left me, but damn, I'll never change.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I get what you mean.
That's a lot of people. And these marketers who work behind the scenes, who talk to like the talent, they make the talent understand, and the talent understands that very well from that point onwards. So they know if I make something, who it's for and why someone will care. For example, Joji's Glimpse of Us. Guys love that bittersweet feeling of even if a girl leaves me, I'll still love that girl and have feelings, you know? Yeah. And he knows that. He knows that's a large section of people. I have friends who that, you know, and they broke up with their girlfriends a long time ago and they still have like feelings for some reason. Because they're stupid. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but that's a large subset of people. And they know that, and that's who they cater to. So they already know when I put something out, and I'll tell you guys another thing. When you listen to, let's say, Cigarettes After Sex or The Weeknd, do you ever think about the guy from Cigarettes After Sex doing stuff with another random girl? Or do you project your own self? You put yourself in that position. You put your own self into that song and into those scenarios. Yeah. And with a girl that maybe you know and maybe you have a thing with her, or just a girl that you fantasize about. It doesn't even exist, right? So you have to understand that even if The Weeknd makes music, the people listening to it are living out their own fantasies through that music. Even though Weeknd made it, it's like, oh, it's me and it's this other girl that I like and she's here. I want to like about that. I had this with one of your videos that I watched. I don't know if it was on your Dictator page or was it on the EnglishBoli? It was the Batman one. There's Batman and Robin, I think. It was on EnglishBoli.
Yeah, EnglishBoli. And basically, I'm there thinking, oh, this is like a Batman video. It's funny. They're just talking about in English to teach people, educational.
Yeah.
And then from nowhere, I see them like in traffic. And then I'm like, what the f-? But then that's when I was like, but I was there. I was that guy in traffic while a beggar is like, hey, Batman. Hey, Batman.
So like one of our videos is in Mohammadpur. What happens is that's what we're talking about. And I know who that video is for. I'm like, okay, I'll put this out. And this other EnglishBoli video with the green screen was in Metro Rail. Mm-hmm. And Metro Rail was like relevant at the time, and I know what happens. Like whenever something new is there, a reporter is gonna go there, and a bunch of Bengalis, they're gonna stand around, right, and say some dumb shit. So that was the whole thing, and people are like, I know this happens all the time on the news, and this is an exaggerated comedic version, which is the value. And the relatability is that, and then that gets shares. So this is how you can frequently keep doing it again and again. The worst advice that people give is, if you want to grow on social media, keep posting. You'll get there. But if you keep posting without your fundamentals not being in place, you will just keep posting. It will never catch on. Once you have the fundamentals in place, and then if you keep posting, it's gonna blow up.
Now, I had another thing that I wanted to talk about is your take and what your views are.
Again, but before I kind of go with that, remember, anything that I'm telling you, I am not smart enough to come up with that by myself.
Yeah.
And I just want to put that out. I am not a genius or smart enough to have figured any of this out by myself. If you start reading psychology and marketing books, which I'm also going to name which one you should specifically read if you're interested, which you should be, then you're going to know that human beings have been the same for centuries.
Yeah.
And if you just read a book like that, you'll know this stuff, right? And then you'll be like, okay, it's always been there and it's so easy. All I had to do was pick up this book and read it, and now I know the secrets. So like, this is not my views. These are like views which are based on research, and I read a book and then I used it.
It's everything's about like inspiration and learning. You get inspiration from other people. It's an idea that's already out there.
Everything's out there.
Everything's out. That's one thing I know. I believe now is I don't think there will ever be another original idea. No. Ever, because everything that you think of now is inspired or has been there.
So
before. Everything
essentially is things that already exist, and then you make a cocktail that's original.
Yeah.
Right. And that's it. I'm gonna sound super generic, but the iPhone, right?
Yeah.
So a music player existed, a camera existed, stuff you could browse on the internet on, a computer existed, and you put all that together.
Yeah.
That's how innovation is done. You take things that exist and you put them together.
Even like this genre of podcasting, you had radio and you had like interviews, and it's just like a video radio, like like it's just two people sitting down and just talking. Yeah. But with like a more casual, not interview type.
Podcasts were a thing a long time ago.
Yeah,
and it never caught on till Reels came along.
Yeah.
The stars connected.
Yeah.
And then you could just take a small bit from a podcast and put it on.
Because I used to remember watching podcasts, but they were on like Spotify. I would listen to them. I would never see them. Yeah. But then I started seeing videos on TikTok, Instagram of like people talking and sharing stories holding a mic. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, that's like a very like new thing, and that's and the clever way of what they did is they select out the clever important parts,
and then they blow up.
Yeah.
And then from one single piece of content you have like 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, so I also want to talk about, so I read over 100 books, and I'm going to kind of condense all of that. The books were on business, self-development, psychology, and marketing mostly. And I'm going to kind of take the stuff that was most valuable and just give it to you guys, so you don't have to read 100 books. So hopefully this is interesting to you. Yeah. And we're now going to talk about how you can be successful at anything. Okay. So again, I'm not the most successful at anything I do, but we are going to be the biggest English learning platform within this year with EnglishBoli. But these are time-tested, true and factual things you can do to get good at anything and to be in the 1% and to be better, to be successful at anything you do. So what you have to do is only learn from the best. I know it sounds very simple, but you only take information and advice from the best person in your field. What most people do is they get cocky. They'll start making music and then they're like, I'm the best. And I'm the coolest and I don't need anybody's help.
Like, never stop learning.
Never stop learning. Like, I have friends, and they're probably going to, hopefully they're not going to watch it because I'll take a shot at them right now. So I have friends who want to start a restaurant business, right? And they try, and then they'll make mistakes and then learn from those mistakes. And the traditional advice is, ভুল করে করে শিখবা, এইভাবেই হয়ে যাবে। আমি কিছু একটা করব, ভুল করে করে আমি হচ্ছে শিখে যাব। That's the worst advice ever. Because your entire goal should be, how do I make the least amount of mistakes in the fastest amount of time and become successful?
Yeah.
Right? That should be the goal. Your goal should not be আমি ভুল করে করে নিজে থেকে শিখব। There's no point to making mistakes that other people made before you. There's no point in finding out solutions to problems that have already been found out. Right?
Yeah.
So this friend of mine starts a restaurant. So I asked him, did you read any books on how to start a successful restaurant? He's like, no. Like, why not? Like, I'll figure it out by myself. Like, why? I asked him, তো তোর আগে কি কেউ রেস্টুরেন্টের ব্যবসা শুরু করছে? হ্যাঁ করছে। তোর আগে কি কেউ রেস্টুরেন্ট সাকসেসফুল একটা ব্যবসা শুরু করছে? Yeah, করছে. And then he's like, but they had a lot of money. I'm like, no, that's not the case. Then what you should specifically look for is guys who started successful restaurants with no money.
Yeah.
Right? That's the guy that you should buy a book from or do a course from and learn every mistake he made in 5-6 years and then found out the solutions that he did, which actually does work.
Yeah.
You save yourself 5 years, right? You never make the same mistakes. You read that book and you're like, oh, I was going to make the same mistake because you are. You're not that original. If you start a restaurant, you're going to struggle with the same things everyone else struggles with, which is how do I manage staff? How do I buy enough food so it doesn't get rotten? The supply and demand thing.
Yeah.
How do I find a product that I can easily make without the cost being too high? How do I source it? The same problems. And there are entire books and courses on it on how to do everything. And you just follow the book. And once you know everything there is to know, then you can make something new. You can't make something new if you don't know what already exists.
Yeah.
You know? And people don't do that.
Yeah.
So for all of you out there, if you want to be a musician, start studying maybe your favorite musician and everything he knows and how he went there. You're going to see he learned a software you never even heard of. You'll see he knows how to play something you've never even heard of. You'll see he read books you never read. Yeah. So for you to think you'll automatically be where he or she is without going through that, it'll never happen.
Yeah.
Right? So when I started business, I'm like, I will learn everything that the best guy that I know in business knows. So you start studying anyone, they will tell you, it's like, I read these 10 books on marketing, I read these 10 books on psychology, and then during this time I took this course, and this is what I did, and we found that this doesn't work, and this works. And then for web development, you need to learn this and this, and this, and then I learned all of that. And I'm still learning. I mean, you can't ever finish learning.
You can't ever finish learning, yeah.
You can always learn more than the other guy. And the other guy doesn't learn a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing I see in Bangladesh. Once they reach a certain amount of status, they stop learning. They stop caring because they already convinced themselves
and
in
no
their
one
head.
in Bangladesh is there. Like no matter how, maybe Shakib Al Hasan. I'll give him that.
Maybe Shakib Al Hasan.
Other than him, no one's there, so I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't understand the ego in Bangladesh with anything. Yeah. It's like, dude, just shut the up and learn.
Like,
learn and get good.
We're trying to like in what we recently saw. I'll give an example because we're related in the film industry with our company as well with Sunset, where we're trying to produce films and we're trying to take inspirations from what currently we think is the best.
And since you are, I would suggest using the same formula, right? Find out why people will care about my film.
Yeah,
who it's for. Having like, oh, by the way, I'm putting out a music album. Like real music, actual, not comedy.
Not like parodies or anything.
Not parodies, like real stuff. And before I put it out, I know it's going to be a hit, right?
Okay.
And that's not me being cocky. Like just so you guys know from everything we've spoken about today. Because I will use the same formula to write every single song.
Yeah.
Right? So whatever you want to do, you want to make a film, you want to make a movie, you want to do any of that, just put the same elements in. Make sure you keep putting in things that people will keep on relating to. And then you have something that will blow up because it has the possibility to.
Yeah, I agree. So that's what we're trying to do for, obviously now this is what I've done. I've learned from you of like what are the ways to actually implement the skills and the lessons you've learned into becoming successful. So like now I will and to like relate with the audience and everything. So if you know the recent Oscars that happened, the landslide of wins was from a movie called Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
And in some categories, it was crazy how a lot of people thought they wouldn't win in a bunch of the categories, and they won specifically for those categories. And that's where we're looking at in Bangladesh, right? We're seeing film is a very celebratory like content, you know, it's big scaled, it's people watch it.
It's not, it's small scale. It's the intimate movies are the ones you really like.
That's what I'm saying.
Like my favorite superhero movie is Kick-Ass.
Yeah, Kick-Ass.
Why? Because it's like I could be that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Like Spider-Man, because you're like I could be that guy.
That's what I'm saying. So
nobody likes, like that's the thing wrong with the Bangladeshi film industry. Everybody wants to make this big giant blockbuster movie. Instead, what you should do is make intimate stories that people really like.
So about that intimate stories, there's a company called A24, and they make those small indie movies.
I know.
And those are the ones that people connect with the most. They had The Whale, the best actor Brendan Fraser won for The Whale.
Yeah.
That was A24. The best picture and like 11 different awards that were won were for Everything Everywhere All at Once, A24. And a bunch of other films, The Lighthouse and all of these were from A24.
It's like why Spider-Man became a hit. So if you ever look at any of Stan Lee's interviews, he talks about, all superheroes are like super rich billionaires.
Yeah.
And like people that people can't relate to or see themselves being, and that's why he made Spider-Man. It's like he's a teenager with problems that all of us or a lot of people can relate to. Family issues, girl problems, rent problem, being broke, financially struggling as a student.
I remember Stanley also saying, like, he was mentioning Superman and Batman. He said they're very successful two superheroes that people look up to. But one thing, Batman is a rich guy and everything with tech and everything.
No, but you see yourself as Batman. That's
you
why
do.
you care. It's like I want to talk like that.
I think of it as
everybody
like
wants to talk like that.
Being Batman and liking Batman. That's an emotion you have.
Yeah,
that's emotion when you're feeling like revengeful. You're Batman. That's why you like
vengeful
Batman.
or like badass.
Badass.
Batman's badass.
And then,
Spider-Man is you.
Yeah, I thought about a very cool thing that he also mentioned was Superman. Superman is a character that is basically you can't kill him. He has all powers. He can fly. He's bulletproof. He shoots lasers.
Right.
He has wind that can cool you. There's no way of defeating him, and a lot of people have a hard time like relating to him.
Humanizing and So another thing I want to talk about, what I want to talk about, and I see this with so many people, I'm like, dude, don't do that. Do not do that. Please don't do that. And what that is kissing up to the industry. Never kiss up to any industry. I
agree.
Never think I'm going to latch on to a famous guy in the industry and then kiss his ass and then kiss my ass to the top. Never do that because you don't have any leverage on the industry. What you want to do is have an audience. And in this podcast, I gave you the secret sauce to having an audience. What you want is to have an audience so big that the industry comes in and they want to kiss your ass. Because then you have all the leverage on them. What I see people doing, like mostly musicians, artists and all of that, it's like they'll find out one guy who's a famous artist, musician, and they'll kiss their ass because they want to be like, oh dude, if I associate with this guy, maybe it'll open up opportunities for me. What you have to understand is the power is with the people. The power is with the people. It's not with institutions. Right? All big institutions only have power, money, or is an organization because they serve a large group of people. They sell things to a large group of people. If you have a ton of people who love you, then industries will come to you. And they'll put you in a music video. They'll beg you to be in a music video, and then you already have an audience, and then that's a hit. You get millions of views.
Pave your own road. Don't
have your own audience.
Don't follow where everyone is going.
Don't expect anyone to come and save your ass because it does not work like that. No one's gonna save you.
I want to ask you if like you have all these ways of how you can gain the views, you can gain the reach and everything. So what is your views on boosting, paying to get those reaches?
Okay, so first of all, you have to know how Facebook works, and you have to know how Instagram works, and you need to know how YouTube works and how Google works, right? I don't know how much time we have, but this is immense value, by the way. This is immense value.
We can keep going.
Right. So, I'll talk about money. I know the question you asked. I'll end up there, but we'll start with money. Everyone needs to know how money works. Suppose you have 100 taka, right? And you want to go to your university, and it will literally take you 5 minutes to walk there, and you have 100 taka. Would you ever pay a rickshaw 100 taka to go there?
No.
You wouldn't. Why? Because you going there is not worth 100 taka, right? But let's kind of switch the situation now. It's raining and you have your final exam, right? It's raining, you don't have an umbrella, there's one rickshaw and you have 100 taka. At that point, going to your university is worth way more than 100 taka. And if that rickshaw is like, Mama 100 taka then jabo na, you'll give that guy 100 taka. Right? So marketing and the way money works is the amount of money anyone will ever give you
has to be much lower than the value they get out of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you repeat your question? Because
So what are your views and
on boosting, right?
On boosting, yeah.
On boosting. So first, understand how boosting works. Would I ever pay Facebook 10 taka, now that we know the formula, if I didn't get extra taka back?
Yeah, that's the thing. No, you
And
wouldn't.
if I can give Facebook 10 taka and get extra taka back, will I ever stop giving money to Facebook?
No.
Because I'm making a 90 taka profit per time every time that I boost. So Facebook knows that. And for any successful business, no matter what you're selling, the amount of value or money in Facebook, it's money. In terms of an iPhone, it's value. Right? You're not going to get money from anybody for buying an iPhone. But you buy an iPhone, even if it's 1 lakh taka, you know it's worth more than that. That's why you get it. So people have this misconception that you only buy something that's worth the same price, but no. Like I know people buy my English courses because they know no matter what I charge, them knowing English in their lives is worth a lot more, and they can use that to make a lot more money. So you have to understand what boosting is first. Whatever you are boosting, you need to know the amount of money you're spending, you're going to get 10 times that money back, right? So, for example, Path or the music video, I posted in a Facebook page where there's no likes. And suppose you've made a film, right? And you know all the elements of shareability is in it. And now if I boost it and get it to even 100 people, I know it's going to go to 10,000. And then it makes sense for me to boost, right? If I have an ad that sells a course or that sells a product for, let's say, 10,000 taka per product, I will boost, let's say, 2,000 taka on that. And if I'm getting 10 sales, right, I'm making 1 lakh taka from a 2,000 taka boost. Will I ever stop boosting? Unless I'm insane. Unless I don't know how basic math works.
No, you wouldn't.
So you should be boosting because social media needs to make money. But social media knows, people in Facebook and Google and every one of these people know, I will only get money from someone if I can give them 10 times more value back or 10 times more money back. That's why Facebook makes so much money, because they know they're the only platform in the world that knows all your information. They know exactly what you are likely to buy. So for those of you who don't know big data sounds very complicated, right? But it's super easy. It basically, historically, in statistics, population size was never actually equal to the actual size of the population. Like to find out about shoppers, you would have to get 10 people in, and they would be representative of like 1 million people. But with Facebook, population size is equal to the actual size. You don't have to like research 10 people anymore. You can research everybody because you have everybody's data. Right? So that's big data essentially.
That's very true.
So they know that. And so of course, if I want to sell a t-shirt, I'm going to boost it. I'm going to boost on Facebook because I know Facebook knows who's texting about buying a t-shirt right now. And then Facebook is going to show that t-shirt ad to that guy. And then that guy will buy. And the amount of money I spend, it will be way less than the amount of money I'm making. So Facebook makes a lot of money. I make a lot of money. And everyone's happy. And that's like one of the cornerstones of negotiation. Everyone needs to be happy. It needs to be a win-win situation.
Everyone has to win.
Everyone has to win. And most people are like, no, you have to lose and I have to win.
Doesn't work. That's a Bangladeshi mindset. That's what I think.
That's actually not a Bangladesh. That's everywhere.
Everywhere,
But the thing, like, once I started studying like business, what I realized is people in America and like in these countries that are really well at doing business and marketing, they study a ton of books. They do a ton of research because the base form of all humanity is ignorance, you know? They don't know. And everyone's like, no, I am going to be a successful businessman. Why? Because I think I'm smart, you know? And I think I'm smarter than that guy. And that's why I should be able to do this. That's everybody. And that shouldn't be the case. So you have to remember, people before you did what you're trying to do. And they wrote a book that took their whole life of research to do. And that's the book you should read. And then you'll know more than everybody.
I think that's very true. I feel like that's a good place to actually end this.
Before ending this, we have talked about a lot of stuff.
Of stuff.
There was a lot of value in it. But before ending it, I would like to ask you about what you're doing right now, EnglishBoli.
Right.
So one thing I noticed is that you're not like those basic English teaching courses where you just like teach English. You actually make content to teach people English, which is why your videos also reached us. Because remember you were talking about the Batman video?
Yeah.
So we wouldn't go to a page that teaches English. We wouldn't want to learn English because we think we can speak English,
know
right?
English.
But then that video, it was a funny video. It had content in it.
Mhm.
It was also teaching English. It was serving that purpose as well.
Yeah.
But we don't want to learn English from that. We still watched the video because
We had a
found
different
it funny.
We had a
found
different
it
purpose
relatable.
for why we
Yeah,
were watching
different
We
it.
found it
altogether.
relatable
Yeah.
and we found it funny. That's why we watched it. So where did you come up with this idea of like making content and
Okay, so
teaching?
it comes from my understanding of social media. So the end goal is for someone to come to my page and see two things. This guy's videos get a lot of views compared to other people, so that means he's competent, right? So you're not gonna buy from me, but the person who would buy a course, he's gonna come in and see, okay, this guy, a ton of people watch his videos. That's one sign of competency, right? The other sign is I speak English in that video. So this guy already subconsciously knows that I am an expert in my field, right? So that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because in social media, you need to be different. Like, we talked about it. You need to follow that formula. And that's how you get views. And views are one form of competency and legitimacy, right? There are other forms of legitimacy. For example, me actually knowing English is
Yeah.
Like, I can't do it if I don't speak English, right? But also the fact that, damn, this guy is funny. I'm not saying I'm funny, but
Yeah,
you know
yeah,
what I mean?
no,
like
no,
from
we
the
understand.
haha reacts.
Yeah,
The
I
ratio of
understand,
haha reacts, right? So they're like, okay, this guy gets people to laugh and gets views and he speaks English. So this seems like an institution I can trust.
Yeah.
So that's really why I'm doing what I'm doing, right?
You
And
need
also
to gain their
teach.
trust.
You get
That's the thing.
yeah. Trust is like, if you're ever a business, you need to get people's trust. Yeah, and when I say business, I think it might sound a little sleazy to some people, but always remember from what we've talked about today, business is service.
Yeah.
It's how can I help you in my own way, and that's content too. How can I help you in my own way, right? So it's actually very ethical.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. I think.
Well, thank you so much, man. Like, I've learned so much from me. Like,
Yeah.
This was a video he made that I just watched and learned stuff from.
Exactly.
Like, this felt like
I
that.
hope you guys enjoyed this.
Yeah.
And
Guys.
I really hope Sunset Studios grows a lot bigger.
Thank you.
And all the episodes you do, I hope they provide immense value for the people watching. Because that's honestly all
That's
that
the
matters.
mindset I'm gonna have for every
Yeah, from
episode
now
now.
on, from now on.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
hey, what can we learn today? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
what can I give you today?
yeah, exactly.
Come here, man.
Yeah.
Come here, you son of a
Bitch, you're gonna learn
Let me
today.
give you something that I know you want.
Yeah, just feeding them education or like.
It doesn't always have to be education. Like you could
Anything,
you could get
yeah.
Salman Muqtadir here, and then you could get him to teach people fashion,
Yeah.
or like whatever people would want to learn from him.
Yeah.
Right?
that's
It's like,
true.
dude, how do you do it? You could
Yeah.
get, you could get
We got
Shakib
Shakib.
Al Hassan.
Yeah, we got Shakib.
And then teach cricket, because who would you want to learn cricket from? Elakar Boro Bhai or Shakib Al Hassan himself?
Yeah, like our
Right?
Boro
You'll
Bhai.
only learn from the best.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
So yeah, just
Yeah.
keep
Or
doing that, you guys will grow.
you could people just watch a video to get entertained. You could always do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, and that's the value there. But the entertainment has to be relatable.
Thank you for sharing everything you did.
I feel like our audience is gonna get the most from this video because
Yeah.
Hopefully
there
this
were a
video
lot
will-
of things, and
And it should be titled "Digital Marketer Gives Out Secrets of How You Can Grow." on
that's what
Social
we're gonna
Media."
title it.
Yeah.
Because no one gives a shit about me.
Just like that tiger video over there. Hey, put the tiger video over here.
We'll put
gonna
a
find
screenshot
it.
of the
Yeah, we'll put
tiger
a screenshot
video.
of it.
Yeah, maybe not that. Yeah, but yeah.
I know. Thank you so much. I hope you liked talking about
I
all these
loved
and
it.
sharing these things, and that's what we want to do. We want to share information and make people relate to it and learn. And so yeah, I enjoyed so much.
I enjoyed. Today was
listening
literally a lesson. Like,
Yeah,
we
it
learned
was a
much
course.
today.
Like-
and if you're watching this video, you would have learned so much.
You just got
by now.
free
Yeah.
social media formulas
Yeah.
from this video.
As Tanvir said, he read like 100 books,
100
and he
books.
compressed it in this
he
one
he
video.
put it all into like 50 minutes just
Yeah.
now. So yeah,
more.
or more, I
Or
think.
more.
Yeah, okay.
All right, guys.
But thank you so much, man.
Thank
So
you for
good to
having
have
me.
you.
Thank you for coming.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.